Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into something that might just flip your whole perspective on business. What if the very things you think of as just for protection, your cyber shields, are actually the most powerful engines for your company's growth?
Okay, let's just jump right in. It seems like every company on the planet is in this mad dash to digitize everything they do. But here's a thought. What if that race to innovate is actually making them more fragile? This isn't just some abstract idea. It's a very real risk that can stop a business dead in its tracks.
And here's why that fragility is such a huge concern. I mean, look, we live in this incredibly connected world, right? Which is fantastic for business. But every single new connection, every new partner, every device on your network, well, it's also a new potential doorway for some pretty serious threats. We're talking everything from major cyber attacks to disruptions that can just totally paralyze your supply chain.
So, to really get a handle on this, we need to be on the same page with a few key ideas. First up, digital operations. Just think of this as the shiny, powerful new engine inside a modern company. It's the whole system of automation and smart tech that makes everything run faster, better, and keeps your customers happy.
Now, if digital operations is the engine, then cybersecurity, well, that's the essential shield that protects it. It's all the stuff you do to keep that engine safe and humming along, protecting everything from your secret sauce to your customers' private info.
And finally, there's supply chain risk. Let's call this any threat to your engine's fuel line. A hiccup with just one supplier, even a tiny one, can mess up your entire operation. It can choke off your resources and, grind your whole business to a halt. So, you've got the engine, the shield, and the fuel line. But how do they all actually connect in the real world? Well, to figure that out, researchers looked at a perfect test case, the pharmaceutical industry over in the United Arab Emirates. It's an industry that's going digital at warp speed, and believe me, the stakes could not be any higher.
And when I say high stakes, I really mean it. The pharma market in the UAE is on track to hit almost $5 billion by 2025. With that much money and public health on the line, you can bet that getting this balance between innovation and security right is absolutely critical.
What's cool is the study didn't just look at abstract data. Nope, they went straight to the source. They talked to over 240 professionals who were right there on the front lines. The IT managers, the supply chain officers, the cybersecurity folks who live and breathe these challenges every single day.
And all this research led them to a really crucial question. For years, most people have thought of cybersecurity and risk management as, just a cost, a defense, something you have to spend money on to stop bad things from happening. But what if that's totally wrong? What if these things actually help the business perform better? And wow, the answer they found is pretty staggering. Seriously, take a look at these numbers. How strong a company's cybersecurity is, by itself, could predict almost 85% of its success with digital operations. And strong supply chain management? That predicted nearly 71%. The takeaway here is so clear. These aren't just costs, they are massive drivers of performance.
But this is where it gets really, really powerful. Check out what happens when you put them together. Strong cybersecurity and smart supply chain management combined predict a whopping 87% of a company's digital success. It proves they aren't just two separate things, they're two sides of the same high-performance coin.
And this quote right here, it just drives home how dangerous it is to ignore that connection. Another survey found that 82% of executives said they had a data breach right after bringing in new tech. And why? Because they treated their shields and their fuel lines like an afterthought. The price of getting this wrong is very, very real.
So, the bottom line is this. This study basically flips the old way of thinking completely on its head. Investing in your shields, your cyber and supply chain defenses, it doesn't slow your engine down. It actually supercharges it. A secure, stable operation is a high-performing operation, period.
Okay, so what does all this mean for you and your business? Well, the study gives us a pretty clear blueprint. First, you've got to use digital tools to predict risk, not just to grow. Second, you have to break down those silos. Your cyber and supply chain teams need to be working hand in glove. Third, start thinking of great security as a feature, something that builds trust with your customers. And finally, use technology to get a crystal clear view of your entire supply chain. You've got to spot trouble before it starts.
And that leaves us with one final, kind of provocative thought. It is time to stop looking at security and risk management as just another expense on a spreadsheet. The evidence is clear.
When you do it right, the very things that protect your business are the same things that will push it forward. So the question you should be asking isn't how much does security cost? It should be how much performance are we leaving on the table by ignoring it?